One shilling. For me, it was beautiful to see an image come to life and then revert back to an image. Definitely gave vibes of a period piece set in the 20s, 40s, somewhere right in there. Uh, there was definitely a lot of play with the androgyny in the partner dance work. I really appreciated how it didn't necessarily need to be man, woman, for me to get the feeling of masculine, feminine in the dancing. The dancing and the gas mask, I'm like, oh, what does this all mean? I thought that was interesting just because knowing how hard that probably was to be so in sync, to have your breathing when you're obscured in that way. And then the ending and how they kind of come back to that same image from the beginning. We pull away and see that this is all just a world within a world. I thought was really, really cool and intriguing. But great movement, great play with androgyny throughout. Play with the masculine and feminine. It was cool to see.
This film is called One Shilling. This was a well done dance short from the UK. Set during World War II, a group of four dancers interact in a lively manner, despite the dangers around them. I love the period wardrobe, and the rustic hiding spot is perfect. I like the concept of the photograph capturing a moment of their time together at the beginning and end of the film. The choreography was well balanced and skillful, and the scary gas masks were quite effective. The upbeat, cheerful music worked well too for the live for the moment atmosphere. Well done. Check it out. One shilling.
This video was so beautiful and beautifully shot. I think the quote at the beginning really just sets up the narrative and the story, and the location was amazing. I think fading into the photograph and then seeing the dancers come to life was beautiful, and their costumes are magnificent. Their dancing was obviously phenomenal. They worked so harmoniously together, and they all used the space really well. And I think the message of, like the quote said, just living in the moment. You weren't living like a bomb was about to drop on you at any point. It was really reflective in their dance, and the music was joyful, and seeing them work together was joyful despite the setting, despite the history and their environment. And then having them, sit back down and the snapshot continue, was beautiful. And the story they were telling was so poignant and so full of history, and a story that we know so well, but for them it's just their everyday life, and it was really, really beautiful.
I really liked One Shilling, all the obviously good dancing and all that, but I also like the costumes and the setting. I think those were very interesting too, because they're very unique, and I like the 20s aesthetic of it all. And yeah, I think everyone you know performed well and everything, and it was well directed and everything. Yeah.
One Shilling was a great watch. It had luring cinematography, a mesmerizing set design. You really get lost in the world. It's hard to take your eyes away. And actors and actresses in that, the dancers, performers, are extremely talented. Like out of this world talented. The whole film direction is wow. The choreography, costume design also tells its own story. Like it speaks to itself. It speaks for itself outside the characters going through what they're going through. But it's amazing. A really cool watch.
One shilling. Leading us with this quote was a smart choice to start us in this dark, dungy basement as we hear the sirens go off, setting the tone, the piece quite nicely. She really does show this snapshot in time. It made me think of what we were doing moments before an inciting incident of a world crisis had occurred. Even though there is this dark, glowing vibe set to the room. The energy is bright and uplifting. Everyone has come together, each having a moment with the other. There's something plaguing about these masks, and there's a smooth transition here between the change of sound and movement and costume that comes into play here, and it's eerie even. I love the bookmarking of this moment, starting the dance sequence as we see the flash into the photo, then we get to live in the moment of this photo, and then we're brought back out of this moment to this dark moment in time. I thought was was a really nice way to go about this piece.
To take a historical moment and put it into dance is inventive and unique. I loved it where it looked like these people were just having fun, and suddenly you could tell when the sirens would have gone off. They would have been doing that with the gas masks, and suddenly you could feel that urgency of panic. It was inventive and interesting, and I loved that the beginning showed what was going on through a photograph. It's something that's not really done, where we don't actually know what a photograph is about. But this actually showed us exactly what was going on, where they went from having fun and dancing to an urgency of panic when you could tell when the bomb sirens would have gone off and they had to put gas masks on. It's very inventive and interesting.
All right, I just finished watching One Shilling, which I thought was a very well done piece, not just because of sort of the authenticity of the time period, but I felt like the opening quote in particular really created a great backdrop for what the sort of the thematic and sort of symbolic ideas behind the performances were supposed to mean. I thought expressed, excuse me, I thought the ideas of expressing yourself and being yourself, especially in the eyes of real danger and real tragedy and misery, was a really strong artistic statement, as well as a very clear sort of philosophical statement about how they approach their work and why they wanted to perform in this type of space. I thought they really navigated the claustrophobic space incredibly well, and I thought the performances were quite memorable, and the interaction and the dynamics between each of the performers really sort of balanced and matched each other in a way that made it very fascinating and interesting to watch. So I ended up really enjoying the piece and thought it was clearly very well done, and with attention to detail and an amount of passion that really came through the performances and through the visual construction of the piece in general. So I thought it was well done and I enjoyed it.